let's just start by going back 3 years ago, 2021. You got 2.6% of the vote. You finished
Yep.
in fifth place. However, you were standing for Reform UK. You're now an independent candidate. Why are you no longer with Reform?
Last time was a marriage of convenience. So last time I was sat on my settee screaming at the TV because Greater Manchester Police had just gone into special measures. And I'm saying to myself, I need to do something. I need to set up a group. I need to go online. I need to shout about how our police are failing because of their leadership, because of the Chief Constable and because of the Mayor. They need holding responsible. And a couple of days later, Richard Tice is on TV saying, I'm announcing a new party coming out of the Brexit party. And I thought to myself, well, for a fact, you've not got a candidate for the Greater Manchester mayoralship. So I tweeted him, he phoned me up 40 minutes later and said, yep, you can stand for us. So it was a marriage of convenience. I never joined Reform. I'm still not a Reform Party member. I've never been a member of any political party. And the reason why I'm not standing for them this time is the lessons I learned last time. So one of the lessons I learned canvassing last time, speaking to people were telling me, sick of all politicians, Nick. I'm not voting for you because you're part of Reform. I'm not voting for anybody in any party. Plague on all your houses. And that's when I decided, if I stand again, I'm going to stand as independent because people are sick of politicians.
On that campaign, though, there was one key pledge from you. Well, not necessarily key pledge, but one of your main pledges that I spoke to you about 3 years ago. I want to bring it up again today. Ending Russ sleeping in 1 year. Now, it's those of you that we know about, you got made redundant from the council, used that money to create this charity that has won a lot of awards, very successful. So we know you got the experience to do it. But my actual question is, what is the plan? Because Andy Burnham's tried to do it. He's not been able to do it. What is the actual plan to be able to end rough sleeping?
Yeah, so people want to see a detailed plan. Go on any of my social media, go to the pin section, the featured section, and it's in there. I talk about it in there. Same with all my policies. There's detailed.
Just for the people in Altrincham that might not have read that plan, that might not necessarily know you as a political candidate, would just be able to highlight it just for those people.
Yeah. So, but obviously, I only can get into so much detail on this interview. But if you want a detailed plan, look on social media. But in a nutshell, well, first of all, let's talk about Andy Burnham, why he's failed. He's failed because he was only addressing one part of the problem. And the one part of the problem he was addressing is accommodation. So the more people he gets off the streets, the more people turn up in Manchester expecting accommodation. It's a never-ending conveyor belt of broken people. So he'll never end it because he's not addressing all the issues. How I'll address it is, first of all, we need some accommodation. But we don't need accommodation that will attract other people from across the country to come here because I'm going to get a one-bedroom flat. I'm going to get nice accommodation in Greater Manchester, so people will just keep on turning up. I want people off the streets. That's when I say ending homelessness. So we'll create some hostels, which will be empty warehouses. We'll put in garden sheds. Each garden shed will be an independent living pod. And people can move straight away the same day off the street into there. We'll have wraparound services based at those hostels, and we'll have support and everything else you need there. That's how we end up sleeping straight away. So I'm not saying I'm going to end homelessness. I'm not saying I'm going to end our issues with no accommodation. I'm ending people living and dying on the streets. Now, people will say, well, rough sleepers don't want accommodation. They're not going to use your hostels. We're going to force them to use our hostels because in Greater Manchester, we're going to end begging. There'll be no more begging in Greater Manchester within a couple of months of me taking charge. It's already illegal and it'll be a priority for the police. If we can stop people begging, that stops people taking as much drugs as they're taking, which means they're also in a better position then to be worked with and will want help and support. If there's no begging in Greater Manchester, that's also a deterrent for anybody else across the UK to say to themselves, oh, I'm going to Manchester because I can earn money begging and I'll get accommodation. There'll be no begging in Greater Manchester. We'll end that in months. And then how do we then stop some of the other problems, such as the migration issue? So quite a lot of rough sleepers now are either failed asylum seekers or successful asylum seekers, but then they've got no money, so end up on the streets. and we're not allowed to spend taxpayers' money housing those individuals because they've got no connection to Greater Manchester. Well, to stop that problem, I'm going to take the Home Office to court. I'm going to take the Home Office to court and say to them in court, you allowed that person in this country. You allowed that person to stay in the country. Why should the people of Greater Manchester have to pay now for this person we don't even want? Now, I'm not saying I'm going to win that case, but I'll highlight it to the whole country about why we have this problem in the first place. Another problem we have is like someone from Leeds, a rough sleeper from Leeds will jump on a bus or a train and come to Manchester because online it sounds like a better place to be rough sleeping, more services, more money, more free food. But really, he's a Leeds problem. Leeds Council should sort him out, but Leeds Council won't do it, so he comes up to Manchester. What we're going to do is I'll invoice Leeds Council with the bill of us fixing that person. And then when they don't pay the invoice, we'll take Leeds Council to court. Again, I might not win that case, but I can show the country how certain councils are letting their people down and they're migrating to other councils who may take care of them. So we'll get people off the street straight away, but I want to expose the underbelly of this problem, the incompetence, the cowardice of this issue.
Obviously running for the position, hoping to take over Andy Burnham. You said that the position of mayor was forced upon us, and you want to hold a referendum on whether people of Greater Manchester actually want this position. Why would somebody that believes in the position of mayor vote for you if potentially within a year of accepting that position it's going to be scrapped?
The answer's simple. It's called democracy. So I learned this lesson when I campaigned 3 years ago. The second most popular thing said to me when I was campaigning 3 years ago was, Nick, I'm not voting for you because I don't want a mayor. We were never asked for a mayor. It was forced upon us. So I'm not voting for something I don't want, that I don't agree with. Hence why we have a hole in our democracy in Greater Manchester at the moment around the mayor. I want to fill that box with a tick. It'll either be a tick to get rid of it or a tick to keep it. But it's not for me to decide. I want the people who live in Greater Manchester to decide and tick that box one way or the other. And if you're right, so if you're someone who really believes in the position of mayor in Greater Manchester, well, I'm not saying I'm for or against the position of mayor. I'm for you, I'm for the public, I'm for democracy. I'm for you to have an opportunity to voice your opinion on what we should have and what we shouldn't have. But at the moment, that was taken away from you 10 years ago by George Osborne. So let's tick that box. If you're a Democrat, if you're not a Democrat, then don't vote for me.
So in that campaign, you wouldn't take either side. You would.
Oh, I've no idea.
To the people.
I've at this moment, I've no idea. I'll make that decision if I'm elected and if there's a referendum. I haven't got time, the energy, or the inclination at the moment to think about problems that are not in front of me at the moment.
Another vote that you want to have is for the people of Alty to decide whether they want to be part of Greater Manchester. A lot of people criticising you will say, well, you want this position and you're going to split up Greater Manchester.
Again, it's because I'm a Democrat. So, if you don't believe in any of these things, you must ask yourself, what do you believe in then? Are you an authoritarian if you don't believe in the people having a say in this country, the place where you live? The Bolton Lancashire thing, the whole of Greater Manchester thing is, again, a hole in our democracy. Greater Manchester was created in 1974. It was invented by civil servants and forced upon the 10 local councils in Greater Manchester. No one asked for it, no one wanted for it, no one voted for it. It was never in anyone's manifesto. It was created out of thin air. Lancashire is 1,000 years old. Lancashire has a history, has a feeling. Some people want to go back to belonging to a place that they understand, which is Lancashire. For this particular issue, I haven't got skin in this game. If the people of Lancashire, if the people of Bolton want to have a referendum to decide where they reside, that's up to them. It might be a good idea, it might be a bad idea for them to leave. And let's say it is a bad idea for them to leave and they become poorer because of it. Well, do you know what? It's called personal responsibility. It's called them making a decision for them in their lives. And the best thing about people making the wrong decision is those people can then change that decision and improve their own lives. I'm tired of us letting government make poor decisions on our behalf. Give power back to the people, because that's where it always should reside in the first place.
And if other areas wanted to have that vote, If you were elected now, would they get
they,
it?
they get it. They get it.
One of the issues that is all over our politics at the minute is this, and I think we spoke about this 3 years ago, this issue of identity politics, what you can
Yeah.
say, what you can't say. You would create a free speech charter,
Yeah.
just briefly for people of Greater Manchester, maybe listen to this. What will
Yeah.
that consist of? People that haven't come across you, what is a free speech charter?
So part of our free speech problem in the UK is people don't know what they can say and what they can't say. I have people saying to me all the time, Nick, you can't say that's against the law. It's not against the law. What are you talking about? People believe we've lost all our free speech. We've lost some of it. We've not lost most of it yet. So I want to commission someone like the Free Speech Union, some really good barristers to create a free speech charter based on existing law in the UK, because the mayor can't start making up laws as he goes along. So I want a easy to read, easy to understand bullet points, so the general public can go on the mayor's website, download the charter and say, right, this is what I can say and can't say. So if a police officer stops you in the street at a demonstration going, you can't shout that, you can say, wait a minute, officer, let me download this for you. This is the mayor's website, who's your boss. He says I can say this, because the police are enforcing things they don't understand. The police are making up laws as they go along, as we saw the other day with that special constable in London telling a church singer, you cannot sing outside a church unless you've got permission. Often it's like, what are you talking about? But because of authority figures, we think, oh, you must know what you're talking about, and they don't. So I want people to understand their rights in this country, what they can say and what they can't say. That's the first step on being a free person and reclaiming free speech in the UK, because if we go down the path we're going down, we're all going to lose free speech.
And that would be a legally binding charter that you would introduce, just for
It'll
clarification.
be legally binding, as in it will be the law of the land. It'll be based on the law of the land as it exists today.
Create a waste and incompetence watchdog. Let's just delve into this, because this isn't
Yeah.
something that I think I've seen from any other politician. So why would you introduce this? Why is it needed? If you just want to go into that for me.
Yeah, so what people expect the mayor to do is solve all our problems. And I'll tell you now, the mayor can solve hardly any problems. Doesn't have the power. Even if he had the powers, he hasn't got the time, the inclination. The mayor we've got now hasn't got the backbone. So that's why we don't solve any problems, because we're expecting people to solve the problems for us. When we're looking at our public services, they don't need extra money. What they need is to be held accountable. We need our public service to deliver the services we pay them to deliver at the level we want. And if they don't, we need to start sacking people. That's how we get better out of our civil servants. We need to start sacking some of them. So I want a watchdog based in the mayor's office where we'll start highlighting not just failing services, not just wasteful projects, because we know they're all wasteful and incompetent anyway. I want to name individual senior civil servants and senior police officers. I want to say, this is the person, this is the civil servant who just wasted £5 million on a computer system that doesn't work. And I will use public pressure and public shame and embarrassment to either sack that individual, to ruin that individual's career, or to get him moved departments and demoted. It's the only way we're going to start getting better at our public services, is by giving them skin in the game. At the moment, it's like, who cares? I'm an invisible civil servant. I'm on a nice wage. I've got a great pension. No one can touch me anyway. Well, no, I'm going to make it sure that we can touch you, because I'm going to name and shame individuals, so then the public can demand some action. And if politicians come out and defend those civil servants, that's fantastic. We know who not to vote for next time. I want to get to a stage where we're having planning meetings in the civil service, in the town halls, in the police, in the fire service, and they're saying to each other, we need to make sure this works. We need to make sure this comes in on budget, because if we don't, that crazy mayor of ours will have all our names on the front page of the Manchester Evening News, and I'm not willing to have that done. Therefore, we need to make sure this is done right. That's all I want.
You've said that before. You said you can't fix the workings within the councils, but you can embarrass their leaders. One of the main issues for probably a lot of residents in Greater Manchester, it might not be your free speech charter, it might not be the issue of Bolton, it might not be the issue of the mayor office, but one thing that is affected by everybody is the Greater Manchester Police Force, which, as we all know, has been in the news an awful lot over the last number of years. You want the people that are being involved in certain scandals sacking senior police officers as it is. So you come into office, tell me your plan for the police force. What am I going to see as a resident of Greater Manchester? What changes am I going to see?
So first day, first minute, it's a meeting with the Chief Constable, because the Mayor is also the Police Crime Commissioner. The Police and Fire Service are the only two things the Mayor is completely in control of. Everything else is just influence. He's in control of the police. So changing the police will be easier than people will expect. First meeting, Chief Constable, this is what I want, get on board or you're gone. It'll be as simple as that. You get on board or I'm going to sack you. So he'll know where he stands straight away. And hopefully he'll be on board, because he seems like he is probably the best Chief Constable we've got in the country at the moment. So I think he'll want to do more. So what do we do then? So I want to look at the competency evaluations of his senior team, because he would have inherited that senior team. So I want to know, who's the waste of space in your team? Let's get rid of them. You can't afford to sack him at the moment because you're too scared of the politics. I'll take all the heat. Let's get rid of the waste of space. Let's just get shot of them. If we can sack him, we can sack him. If we've got to make him go early retirement, if we've got to pay him to leave, I just want them gone to improve the efficiency of the police. Same with unfit officers. Officers who are just incompetent, like the Special Constable in London, who thinks it's illegal to sing church songs outside the church. I want those officers gone. I'm then going to look at the strategies around our recruitment. I want to overall our recruitment process. Our bar is set too low for police officers. So we've set it so low so we can tick boxes for minorities and for women and for this and for that. Those boxes will be gone. There's no more box ticking. If we have more men and more white men, well, so be it. I don't want necessarily that. I want the best people for the jobs. I don't want any more of this identity politics. Then I'll be looking at promotion. At the moment, we promote the most woke officers, who then promote the most woke officers. It just goes up the chain. We'll be changing how we recruit internally within the police. I want things around patriotism. I want fitness. I want knowledge of the law. I don't want projects around LGBTQ or the black ethnic minority projects. I don't want to know about that promotion. I just want to know how you're going to hammer criminals. I'm going to turn Greater Manchester Police back into a police force. It's not going to be a service anymore now. So if you're expecting a police service, no, it's going to be a police force, because that's the only way we deal with criminals, is by hammering them. And that's what my police force will be doing under my administration.
Should Andy Burnham be scared of you?
At this moment in time, probably not, because I'm not an idiot. I need two things to happen if I'm going to have a chance of winning this election in 90 days' time. I need two things to happen. I need an injection of money, because campaigns take money to run. I'm running everything myself and paying for everything myself at the moment, which is fine. But if I'm going to have a better chance, I need to buy advertisements, stuff like that, and I need some injection of money. And I need something to happen that we can't foresee. My guess would be it'll be crime. I'm not hoping for this, but if something bad happens between now and the election on crime, Andy Burnham has been absolutely useless in Greater Manchester on keeping us safe and keeping the streets safe. That's his weak point. If I've got a chance of winning, it's those two things I need. If you like that video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell and comment. And if you like what I'm saying about running for Mayor of Greater Manchester, then stick around. Tell your family, tell your friends. The only way I'm going to have a chance of winning is a grassroots movement. So be part of that movement and hit that bell. Thanks.